Hello, sorry. Close your eyes. I was supposed to do a Twitch turn up with Minnie Riperton, and you know I'm a big old liar, so I didn't do that. And the joint just came up on my shuffle, and it was so pretty. And I reminded myself I need to do that, so I'm gonna do that soon. Welcome everybody to the Friday edition of Burn It Down. Wait, it's Friday. Yes, the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze. Appreciate everybody making some time to come and kick it with your homie. I would say talk a little shit, but we're going to talk a lot of shit tonight. we're going to talk a lot of shit tonight because we have to talk it while we're still able to do so, even beyond still having breath in our bodies to still talk our shit. We have to talk our shit until they come get us. And it is obvious with Donald Trump's declaration that there's a war on Antifa. Antifa's a terrorist organization. Anybody, anybody can catch these strays out here in these authoritarian streets. And we are not naive enough to think that it won't be us. But guess what? If it is going to be us, well, if it's going to be an end, then let us make it such an end. You know what I'm saying? Let's not be ambiguous about the shit. Let's not leave any sort of inquiry or wonderment as to where we stood in these times of full-throated totalitarianism, fascism, authoritarianism. And I hate to intermix these terms interchangeably because they all have very specific meanings, but I think even aspects of them all apply very much to the moment that we find ourselves in. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the program. We're going to get into some things. Coming up on the show, the whites are indeed wilding. Okay. Much like the wildings of Game of Thrones lore, they are wilding their motherfucking asses off. Did you know that a young white actually offed not one, not two, but 3 polices? Did you know that? Did you hear that story? Was that national news? Was Fox News frothing at the mouth about backing the blue when they heard that one of their young white race soldiers took out 3 cops in Pennsylvania? Oh, we're going to get into the things, baby. Wow. Whites are having a hell of a week. Jesus Christ. They're getting off political assassinations. They're getting off targeted murders of law enforcement. Hell of a week for the whites. Hell of a week. Trump might be proud. Lourdes, wait, put Lourdes up on the screen. Lourdes, you want to drop the link? You want to come up here and say it to my face? Ask your whites why they out here so violent and committing all these acts of domestic terrorism. I think it's problems in the home. I think you have a problem with family values. You, the whites, that is. Not to our whites, of course. Right? Respect to the fire fam and the John Brown Brigade. But some of y'all in here, whole ass Klansmen and White Citizens Council. And you seem to not think that you are, or maybe you know that you are and you're very proud of it. But even still, there's a problem at home, beloved. Lourdes. There's a problem at home. Where are the fathers? Oh, that's the problem. The fathers are there. That is white America's problem. Their fathers are fucking there, and they are monsters, and they're raising little monsters. And we will get all to it because the whites have had a hell of a fucking week. So let me actually not delay, since we seem to have a crowd joining us tonight. Please come on in here. Subscribe, like the video. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, setting oppression the fuck ablaze. And let us go ahead and start with white supremacy and Trump's version of authoritarianism. And to be clear, all of the scrum behind Jimmy Kimmel losing his show seemingly permanently, though ABC says it is suspending him indefinitely. I want us to hear from the FCC commissioner, or rather, Brendan Carr. Brendan Carr, once a champion of free speech and a vocal opponent of government-sanctioned censorship, Chairman Carr has seemed to have a change of heart. He seemed to have a change of heart in the wake of somebody letting the chopper sing. Oh, that's right. Another young white letting the chopper sing on Charlie Kirk in, was that Chicago? No, it was fucking Utah. So I would like for us to hear a snippet of the FCC chairman's comments, which were in advance of ABC relieving Jimmy Kimmel of his late night show hosting duties. Well, let's run that from the very tippy top, please. Thank you.
That we can take. There's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters, and frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. So I think, again, Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, this, garbage, to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future, isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are.
It's not acceptable because it's peak snowflakery. You want to talk about a group of individuals, namely conservative right wingers, who can't take jokes and yet complain that comedy is dead, who can't take criticism and yet whine and hoot and holler about so-called cancel culture. I want to apply this really to everybody. Okay. First of all, that is blatant thuggery. Okay. Chairman Carr went on to say regarding ABC and what they were intending or considering doing to Jimmy Kimmel, if they know what's good for them, they'll do the right thing. Okay. So if there was ever a question whether or not the United States has transitioned into North Korea territory, into whatever sort of iron-fisted authoritarian government you think exists in the world, the United States is absolutely that. But here's the funny thing. I find it comical that it took the sanctioning and the censoring of a moneyed white man, Jimmy Kimmel, James Kimmel. Something about that name, James. When you put it on a white, woo, something happens. But anyway, Jimmy Kimmel, rich guy, platformed guy, and now has had his platform snatched from him. And even liberal, so-called progressive whites are pearl clutching, talking about this is the end of democracy. This is the end of the First Amendment. I wish I would have seen that kind of furor when Twitter snatched hood communists' account for no reason. Account suspended. No fucking reason. Hood communist was on Twitter killing them with brilliant information, insight, and analysis. Account suspended. No fucking reason, right? I wish I'd have seen the same outrage from liberals and progressives when Russian state-backed media who had American outlets, Iranian state-backed media who had U.S. outlets or affiliates, Sputnik Radio, our comrade Jackie Lukman was part of, RT. Whatever you may think, allegedly, these entities, these media entities, with state-backed dollars from the likes of like Russia and Iran, they were allowed to operate within the bounds of the United States because allegedly this country appreciates and adheres to a so-called doctrine of free speech. Okay, well, those channels all went away under who? Joseph Robinette Biden. That's right. Joe Biden spearheaded or was a link in the chain. Let's put it this way, because censoring of leftist voices, of dissenting voices, is a long-standing American tradition. I was looking back at when did Ida B. Wells have her newspaper office bombed and burned to the ground by a white lynch mob? That was 1892. When did they burn the town down? Wilmington, North Carolina, burned the town, lynched unknown numbers of Black people, likely in the hundreds, and also burn down the newspaper because you can't have information. That was 1898. So this is what the U.S. does, right? White supremacy does this. When it holds power, it can censor voices. But it took a white man getting his platform snatched for people en masse to give a fuck and be like, oh, this is the signal. This is the turning point. It's this right here. No, you stupid shits. No, you stupid shits. See, this is when you know that it's over, right? Or it could potentially be over because you didn't say shit when they were coming for everybody else. You said fuck all when they came for black voices. You said fuck all when they came for gay voices. You said fuck all when they came for Latino voices, and the list goes on and on. But now it's Jimmy Kimmel. now it's an emergency. Well, it could be. Because by the time they get to cisgender, hetero, moneyed white men, baby, the rest of us do not stand a chance. The rest of us do not stand a chance. And if we had spoken up when there was a Democrat in office, and I know a lot of people did, but I'm talking about en masse. Like if the likes of MSNBC and CNN pundits and commentators would have had the same affront about the right of free speech and the First Amendment being taken away from people simply because of their political views, maybe the path would not have been laid so easily for Trump to come in and swoop in and do all this bullshit had the Democrats and Joe Biden not played their significant part in all of this. Speaking of poopy pants Trump. Oh my God, you guys think Trump was up there shitting at the fucking Windsor Castle? Whoa. Sorry for whoever had to sit next to that nigga. It was probably King Charles. King Charles was probably mad as shit. King Charles was probably pissed the fuck off. Like, can you smell him? Camila. Smells dreadful. Speaking of Trump. Trump, of course, asked, and I'm sure you've seen these comments, but I do want to play them because because I love how Mans just really pretends, sir, how are you trying to be the 2025 version of John Gotti, but you're such a bitch? And I hate to even call him a bitch because you guys know how I feel about misogynistic slurs because they're ill applied, right? Bitches are actually tough. Trump wish he was a bitch. How you tough and you can't take criticism? You can't take a few jokes. Nigga, you was the main joke runner. When Paul Pelosi caught a fucking hammer to the dome, this nigga had all kinds of jokes. He mocked disabled people. He mocks all kinds of folks. Trump don't give a fuck except when the jokes are about him. Why? Because it's snowflakery at its peakest of evolutionary presentation, nigga. You got all the power in the world and you can't even take a couple of jokes from fellow whites, no less. Anyway, let's run the clip. Trump was asked about what he thought about Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled, and it's about what you expect.
Like to see replace Kimmel. Who would you like to see replace Kimmel on late night?
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him. The guy had no talent. Kimmel look, he was fired. He had no talent. He's a whack job, but he had no talent. And more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings. His ratings were worse than Colbert, I think. They got rid of Colbert, which was a good thing to do. And look, that's something that should be talked about for licensing too. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump. That's all they do. I read someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I got 97% negative, and yet I won it easily. I won all 7 swing states, popular, but won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It will be up to Brendan Carr.
See, this is why Trump has surrounded himself and his entire administration is loaded up with loyalists. And not to say that a different commissioner may not have responded in a so dissimilar way than Brendan Carr has responded, basically adhering to the beck and call, whatever Trump wants to happen, or whatever messaging Trump would prefer that Carr put out there in terms of threatening to pull licenses. Carr is happy to do that. And Trump, it's interesting to me when he talks about pulling FCC licenses. So, I mean, the FCC is the guarantor of a media outlet's ability to obviously broadcast. It assigns frequencies and this, that, and the third. When I hear about pulling licenses, it makes me concerned for independent media outlets. I'm thinking specifically of the Pacifica Network radio stations, WBAI in New York, WPFW here in Washington, D.C. And I know the one in LA, help me out, chat. Is it KPFK? Put it in there if I said the shit wrong. But these are stations that promote Black liberation. They promote labor organization. They promote community activism and organizations. Feature they feature the voices and hosts of people that we know and care about, and whose opinions and work that we respect tremendously. When Trump and his cronies talk about snatching broadcast licenses, I worry that media outlets like that could potentially be on the chopping block, right? I mean, what's to stop them? They want to talk about snatching licenses. And let me say this. I want to credit to the folks who have already begun organically, spontaneously, to boycott ABC and its related properties. I've seen a lot of videos over the past couple of days, people talking about they have canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions, they have canceled their Hulu subscriptions. You know, they're expressing pre-disappointment about missing the upcoming season of Abbott Elementary. Like, guys, like, this is the kind of small time resistance that we can do, right? If ABC, Paramount, all these different broadcasting entities, if they want to capitulate to Trump and do unto Trump's will without putting up any real fight, then we as consumers have to express with our dollars and our eyeballs that we're not going for this shit, okay? Tangentially, not 100% related, but I just wanted to mention this. So put a pin in the shit I just said. Data centers. The issue about data centers out here in Prince George's County, they held a hearing, some shit recently, and I saw the white man got on TV and said, listen, if you are concerned about the rise of data centers in your community, well, I don't know what to tell you. Everything that you stream, everything that you upload, everything that you utilize, your emails, your photos, all your streaming services come through data centers. And if you don't want data centers, then maybe cut back or think about cutting back on how much you use media and data. And I said, that's a wonderful idea. What if we all cut our goddamn streaming services? Now, I know that would not stop the construction of the data centers, but I think it would make enough of an economic disruption coupled with the fight against data centers that, you know, maybe some of these projects could be delayed or stymied or outright defeated. Just a thought. But anyway, back to the whole ABC boycott situation. Let's make that a thing. Okay, let's get that rolling. I was looking at my subscriptions here and I said, okay, where can we cut back? And us cutting back our consumerism of this media, I think, can send a message, because if the corporations, these media entities, are more concerned about suffering penalties or consequences from the Trump administration, they need to be worried about suffering our penalties and consequences. Okay, fuck Trump. They need to be worried about us. They need to be worried about us going back to DVDs and Blu-rays and shit, which, by the way, I encourage, guys. I think the way, or one tactic, one prong of the a multi-pronged approach to defeat our enemies is to cut back on the consumerism as much as possible. And listen, with the way the economy's going, some of us are going to be cutting back on our consumerism involuntarily, right? So maybe it's something that you're already working on. You're probably way ahead of cutting back on your consumerism, right? Because them dollars ain't stretching like they used to. You understand? Shout out to Courtney DSLP. I believe that's Courtney. Wait. Sorry, that's not Courtney. Sorry, but shout out to Courtney any goddamn way. Courtney always gets the shout outs. We appreciate it. Trey D, that's who sent some business. Thank you, Trey D. I appreciate that. $ BIDWKB on Cash App, at Venmo. Well, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, and of course, Patreon.com/BIDWKB. So, guys, so that is the thuggery coming from the White House and the, all of the cronies, or at least a sliver of the thuggery, even beyond threatening First Amendment free speech, which, by the way, they're just trying, I don't give a fuck. And beyond threatening First Amendment free speech, of course, our immigrant neighbors continue to face persistent ongoing threats. But ICE is not being deployed to the areas in which obviously the real crime is happening, and that is in rural red state America. We are only 10 days away from the assassination of Charlie Kirk in deeply red Orem, Utah, majority Muslim. Oh, I'm sorry, Mormon. I got my religious M's messed up. Let's talk about the real terrorists. Mormons, right? State that Trump took 3 times, Utah triple Trump, and apparently raised and harbored a would-be political assassin who has been trained in the way of the sniper since they were a wee boy. Of course, we're talking about Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, facing several counts of murder as it pertains to the death of Charlie Kirk. But Tyler's not the only young domestic terrorist white out here causing havoc in the rural communities. I want us to go to Pennsylvania, more specifically York County, Pennsylvania. If you're from the area, you might be familiar. I know Southern Pennsylvania to be Amish country, not exclusively, but you're looking for Amish, you're going to find them York County, Lancaster County. Just to give you an idea, this area, which I'm about to take you, not that far from the capital of Pennsylvania, that of Harrisburg. But this incident happened this week in York County, Pennsylvania. And what I found quite remarkable is that law enforcement seemed to be a bit reluctant to identify the shooter. And maybe you guys can figure out why. But I'm not sure if you all heard, 5 law enforcement officers were shot. 3 were shot fatally on the scene. 2 of them had to be taken to surgery, listed in critical condition. Did you guys hear that there was an attack on law enforcement this week? Y'all didn't hear that? Trump didn't talk about this shit? Hold on. Little Marco didn't get up there. KKK Caroline didn't pull her hair out. And her lip fillers didn't pulsate with fake rage about the latest attack on our brave officers in blue. You guys didn't hear about this? Man. Well, let me give you the details. We're going to go to the package. And then we are going to take a look at this fiend who caused terror in our community. Certainly must be another white Trende Agua. MS-13 got all kinds of Caucasian undercovers in rural sleeper cells. Must be, right? Will, let's run the package from the beginning. My good bruv.
Say 24-year-old math. Prosecutors say 24-year-old Matthew Ruth was stalking his ex-girlfriend and hiding at her rural Pennsylvania house waiting to kill her before he opened fire on law enforcement Wednesday afternoon.
Rather than being able to provide ultimate safety, they wound up having to provide ultimate sacrifice.
Police were first called to the scene late Tuesday night when they say a woman's outdoor camera captured Ruth, her daughter's ex-boyfriend, on the property. Officers said the suspect had an AR-15 style rifle and the search for him began.
They could not find him, despite searching over the next several hours.
The next day, the officers returned to the scene looking for the suspect.
Upon immediately opening the door, the actor repeatedly fired at the officers with multiple rounds.
Northern York County Police detectives Mark Baker and Isaiah Emmenheiser, along with Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, were killed at the door. A fourth officer was critically injured. Outside, prosecutors say Ruth shot a deputy sheriff before he was killed.
I hear 25, 35 shots ring out.
A farmer who lives near the scene says he heard the gunfire.
What'd you think initially? Initially, I thought the neighbors shooting their gun. It's only after the aftermath of the helicopters and first responders that started to click.
Now the small community is in grief.
Do you personally know any of the officers? I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone around here that didn't know them.
Now, the women who lived at the house were not there at the time of the shootout. According to the district attorney, had they arrived instead of calling police, they almost certainly would have been killed by the suspect, Tony.
There you go. 3 officers, 3 members of law enforcement from the same department, North York County in southern Pennsylvania, killed by Matthew James Ruth, who was also killed on the scene. Would you guys like to see Matthew James Ruth, this clearly a gang member? Well, let's get young Matthew's picture up. 24 years old, a native of York County. And as you heard in the story, that Matthew, the reason why police were seeking him out was to serve him with an arrest warrant for threats of domestic violence. Isn't that interesting? Didn't President Donald John Trump recently bemoan the inclusion of domestic violence in Washington, D.C.'s crime stats? Hey, what's a little spat between a husband and wife, between a man and a woman? What's a little spat? That's no crime. Yup, that's exactly what the manosphere thinks. That's exactly what the red pillars think. Matthew James Ruth, I guess he was trying to prove to his ex-girlfriend that he missed her. That's why he showed up at her house with the AR-15 wearing camo with the binoculars peering into the home. So not mentioned in that package to me, a very critical detail is that there was actually an innocent person who got killed, rather not a person, but Matthew James Ruth, after breaking into his ex-girlfriend's home where she and her mother were not, the family dog, a black Labrador, was there and he killed the dog, the most innocent person on the scene. So we definitely express the loss that that family must be feeling for that dog. Rest in peace to the dog. But I'm curious, guys, why is it that you think that this was not, I'm sure CNN maybe mentioned it or something like that, but when there was a mass attack or a mass ambush on law enforcement, that tends to lead national news. I know everybody is not plugged into the news cycle in the same ways, at the same times, to the same information sources. So this may have flown under your radar, but this is the kind of thing I would think that the president of the United States would seize upon, along with, other types of folks from his cabinet, like the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Like, don't they always talk about their officers are under attack? That's why the ICE agents got to go out masked. Because law enforcement is under attack. But the problem is they don't tell you who law enforcement is under attack from. Okay. And it's usually from the likes of Matthew James Ruth's. and Tyler James Robinsons. Okay. Those kinds of folks who are reared in white supremacist, white nationalist Christianity, in pro-gun culture, where their religious zeal compels them to worship American whiteness instead of Palestinian Jesus, right? And the principles therein. Yeah, there's intentionality that you have not heard about this story. And my guess, although I do not know this for a fact, I have not confirmed this. This is my speculation, is that Matthew James Ruth likely comes from a very conservative family. This is a very conservative place in Pennsylvania, which, by the way, Pennsylvanians will tell you there's Philadelphia on the east, and there's Pittsburgh in the west, and in the middle, it's Alabama. that is how Pennsylvania is described by most non-white folks I know who are familiar with the Commonwealth, but I digress. Where's the National Guard coming into America's rural red areas, everybody? Where is the federal surge doing the stopping and frisking and the vehicle searches and the pretextual stops for the demographic that is obviously causing the most damage, harm, inflicting fear, and committing acts of domestic terrorism? Let me tell you something. Look at that face. Matthew James Ruth, I assure you, if he was Malcolm Jamal, do you understand? Like if he was Mehdi, or if he was anything but that Caucasoid cretin of an individual, if he was non-white in any way, if he was non-cisgender in any way, these conservatives would be screaming like banshees. But instead, they're quiet as church mice. Why? Because another one of theirs done struck again. Another one of yours done struck again and took out more of you. And listen, it's not giddiness at the execution. What it is, it's a hilarity to me that these specific folks fail to recognize who the real enemy is. It is your sons, it is your nephews, it is your grand boys are the biggest threat to America, and you don't give a fuck. Because if you have to address them, then you don't have time to be racist. Where will y'all ever find time to do the funness of racism if you are collecting your own fucking children? 24 years old, look at him. A triple murderer of police. He shot 5. How much y'all want to bet the AR-15 legally purchased? Oh, by the way, and I'm pretty sure this was confirmed, I will double check. I watched the press conference from the North York County, whoever the fucks. And aside from this warrant issued to Matthew James Ruth pertaining to stalking charge, I don't think he had a previous criminal record. Isn't that something? Don't I hear Pam Bondi and drunk Judge Janine Pirro talking about how these criminals in Washington, D.C. had multiple arrests? Yeah, probably for fare evasion and loitering and disorderly conduct and the dumb shit that Black people have a tendency to catch charges for because they're being fucked with simply for being Black and existing in public. But no, you're going to have a lot of these Matthew James Ruths and Tyler Robinsons who don't have no fucking records, but God damn it, they are trained like Navy SEAL sharpshooters. Isn't it funny how that works? What is going on in the homes, white America? Talk to us. White Christian America, what is happening in the houses? I have an idea what's happening. Y'all not watching these little niggas, okay? That's what the fuck partially is the problem. The other problem is you're giving them unfettered access to these weapons, and then you're teaching them they are the most special little snowflakes ever to be birthed. And the reason that they can't seem to achieve what their parents and grandparents were able to acquire before them, it's all because of DEI and immigrants coming here to take your job. They took your jobs. The problem is y'all are raising y'all little monsters to be soft and scrotum skin because only a fucking coward does shit like that. But hold on, the whites was busy. You could take Matthew, James, Ruth down. Thank you so much, Will. I just wanted y'all to see the face of domestic terrorism. That's all. Because oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Wendy, for the question. How did Matthew, James, Ruth die? Well, he died. So Matthew allegedly was letting the AR-15 chopper sang from, I mean, he had that bitch hitting notes. Okay, the chopper was saying, this nigga shot 5 polices. 5. One of the polices who got hit, he had his own AR. If I'm remembering what I heard from the press conference, I think it was one of the deputy sheriffs, actually, not one of the detectives who got killed, but one of the deputy sheriffs who got shot had his personal AR-15 on him. That was the only way that Matthew was able to be taken down, because Matthew had the chopper, and then the sheriff's deputy brought his personal chopper. But hey, you know, permitless carry. but hey, you know, sell the AR-15s like it's bazooka gum. You know what I mean? Like, why not? What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen in America with disaffected white males who are armed to the teeth and being deeply indoctrinated and intentionally misinformed and intentionally revved up and intentionally meant to look outwards to find the source of their problems instead of inwards? So, another young white man, well, actually not so young, 44, old enough to know better. You would think. But the Democratic nominee for mayor in New York City, Zohrab Mamdani. I can't say it with a non-Maryland accent. Mamdani. Zohrab Mamdani. Zohrab, as you guys can imagine, has been receiving his fair share of threats. I'm sure across the board, everybody from Andrew Cuomo supporters probably calling Zohrab with the threats, to Trump supporters, you ain't no brown communist, blah, blah. Well, one of these crackers have actually been brought up on charges for allegedly making threats to Mr. Mamdani. So let's take a look at the story, shall we? Thank you.
The first time in court. For the first time in court today, we heard what a 44-year-old man from Texas allegedly said in a series of disturbing messages left for Zohran Mamdani.
Hey Zohran, you should go back to Uganda before someone shoots you in the head. All right, you piece of Muslims don't belong here.
Why didn't you think this was criminal? That was 44-year-old Jeremy Fistel walking out of court after posting bail and pleading not guilty to making terroristic threats against the Democratic nominee, Zohran Mamdani, back in June before the primary.
He clearly threatens the safety of both Assemblymember Mamdani and the family of the assembly member.
Prosecutors say these were hate crimes, which come with a longer sentence, because they say that these messages targeted Mamdani specifically for his religion. The messages read aloud in court by a prosecutor in the case. She said that in another message, Fistel said, quote, "Go on and start your car, see what happens. Yeah, keep an eye on your house and your family." That message was allegedly left on the morning of June 18th. And that very morning on June 18th, Mamdani became emotional at a campaign event. When I asked him specifically why he doesn't have a more visceral response and isn't speaking more about allegations by his rival, Andrew Cuomo, that he is anti-Semitic, he became emotional and even cried.
I get messages that say the only good Muslim is a dead Muslim. I get threats on my life, on the people that I love. and I try not to talk about it.
In a statement, the Mamdani campaign thanked District Attorney Melinda Katz of Queens for treating this matter with the seriousness it deserves, adding, "We cannot and will not be intimidated by racism, Islamophobia, and hate," and adding that New York must be a city where every single person is safe, protected, and at home.
You could call it whatever you want, unpleasant, improper, but it's free speech.
Festel's defense attorney called the case weak, saying that while his client may have wished bad things would happen to Mamdani, he did not actually threaten to do any of those bad things to Mamdani. Now, finally, Mayor Eric Adams seizing on all of this as Mamdani's campaign issued a statement saying they were thankful for their stepped-up security detail from the NYPD. Adams saying that it was ironic that someone who has been such a heavy critic of the NYPD over the years is now thankful for the NYPD's assistance in keeping him safe.
Here you have a person who has spent his life bashing of the NYPD. They requested police detail. He has a full detail that's moving with him because they were concerned about his life. And so when you see that irony, I guess that's why the word irony is in the dictionary.
Eric Adams is a real piece of shit. Okay, in case you needed your weekly reminder, yes, he opened his mouth yet again and confirmed it. Yep. Unfortunately, a tale as old as time. Anytime that non-white people assert any sort of political power or even just decide to be visible and seek public office or pursue things such as voting rights or immigrant rights or gay rights or black people's rights or whatever, it is a signal. It's the green light to the white supremacists, to the violent domestic terrorists, generation in and generation out. It's time to get activated, at least minimally with words. But the problem is when white folks make threats, you have to take them seriously because you have to check the track record, okay? And this is not just a recent track record. I'm not talking about, 3 officers getting mowed down in rural America and or a prominent conservative political figure also getting mowed down. I'm talking about going back hundreds of years, ever since the inception and the foundation, and even during enslavement times and post-enslavement times, okay? Anytime non-whites, especially non-Christians, simply being visible and saying, I deserve to be here is enough to greenlight you for violence and at minimum harassment. And look at the culprit. Now, some of y'all might be like, well, sometimes non-white people call people and make threats. They do. But do they get that creative, though? Told the man, be careful starting your car. How else are you supposed to take that? That is meant to incite fear. And it is an intimidation tactic, a tremendous one. But again, that's on the tame side compared to what Matthew James Ruth. Trust me, I could go on. But I want to take a moment here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Please like the video because I actually have some praise for white folks. You ready for that? Y'all ready for that? Because what I realize is it's not enough whites out here doing the Lord's work, unfortunately. So when they do it, I like to point it out because maybe some whites don't even know what that shit looks like. What does it mean to stand up? What does that even look like to stand up and put your privilege, put even your own safety and security on the line in defense and in support of someone from a marginalized community who otherwise would be met with brutal repression and violence from the state or from law enforcement or whoever. But hold on. Say, what was the thing? Thank you to everybody that's here. Who we got in here? I see Northern Witch. Thank you, Northern Witch. Pamela Jones, thank you so much. Francis, I I'm working on a waiver to give to the 3-Eye Atlas aliens. So if they are coming to take the whites, we have to make sure that you don't go. Friends, don't get caught up in the rapture of the aliens. Franny can stay. The rest, no, not the rest, because we actually have a list. I'm working on waivers for everybody. For Dawn, Holly, who else we got up in here? John Kemper. All of our favorite Caucasians. Yes, we're working on exemptions. Y'all get to stay. If 3-Eye Atlas is coming to take the rest of the whites, y'all can stay. Freddie, if they put you in the tractor beam, I'm going to be holding on to your arm. Like, no! Freddie, don't take Freddie! But take the rest of them. Sorry, don't forget the Australians. Nadia, oh my gosh, I know Nadia is like, please. Oh wait, Nadia, are you all right? I didn't know that. Well, what? No, Nadia can totally stay. Molly, come on now. I'm working on waivers. I have, but it's a finite number, so there's a quota system of the number of whites that we will allow to remain should 3-Eye Atlas occupants decide to come and reclaim the whites and take y'all back to your home planet, because I don't think you're from here. I think y'all are from a place called Caucasia, and Caucasia misses you so bad. It's almost like the Chronicles of Narnia. You know what I'm saying? And I wish we could just throw y'all in the closet and y'all would return there. But no. They had to send a ship big enough to come collect all of us. Every single Canadians. Oh, y'all too. Y'all going too. What's wrong, troll? Why would we kill all? First of all, why would we kill any whites? Who, sir? Tyler James Robinson, Matthew James Ruth. Why do the racists insist on not claiming your people? See, you want to claim them when they doing Roman salutes and shit, but when they actually get out here and be about that action, oh, now you don't know fucking Tyler James Robinson. Oh, now you don't know Matthew James. Oh, now you don't know them whites. What the fuck is you talking about? When are black people killing white people, sir? I'll wait. And this is the ahistorical ignorance that to me is just so galling, because the fairy tales that the racist whites tell themselves, because again, I told y'all, they think that we do racism sometimes too, right? They think during the antebellum Reconstruction period after the Civil War, they think that black people came to white folks' town and burned their towns down sometimes too. They think that black people came and burned crosses. They think we came and burned crosses sometimes too. They just think the shit is like the fucking Commanders and the Cowboys. Like sometimes the Cowboys win. No, you don't. You poor little ignoramus. I would pity you if you weren't so fucking dangerous. Black people don't kill white people, beloved. They don't. And you can't point to a period in history in which whites were being slaughtered en masse by black people, because it never happened. And again, I'm waiting for the historical example. I'm not even denying it exists totally, because I really don't know. But I need to know the instance in which a mob of black people in America kidnapped, lynched, hung a white person whilst screaming, "Kill the cracker." When did this happen? When did this happen? Because, beloved, I can tell you the reverse happened thousands of times. Thousands of times. Racist white mobs perfected kidnapping, lynching, hanging, burning, castrating black folks by the thousands. And you punk ass little bitch, you can't even give me one example of when the inverse happened. I won't say never happened, but can't no cracker seem to reference it. So, baby, we didn't do racist domestic terrorism sometimes like y'all. So anyway, now I'm done shitting on the bad whites. Now, good whites, pay attention. And the cracker whites, you also might want to pay attention too. because this is what you need to do. This is what you need to become. You need to evolve out of this nihilistic racism that is literally capsizing your own country. Black people didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. Black people didn't kill those 3 cops in York County, Pennsylvania. The whites did. The young whites did. But I want to show y'all some examples of white people doing it right, of white people giving us the energy that we need. Because the problem is that, I see people, in particular, liberals and progressives, and even black ones, bemoan all of the shit that Trump is doing right now and say, see, if y'all had voted for Kamala, we wouldn't be here. Nope, that's actually not true. If every black person had voted for Kamala, Trump likely still would have won. Why? Because he has reignited the bloodthirsty, racist white imagination of this country. But there are white people out here standing up and saying no. So we're going to go to Tampa, Florida. Okay. This was earlier this week. So let's say the 15th, September, the week of September 15th. Let's be safe. And there was an anti-genocide, pro-Palestine action. Okay. And the camera is going to pick up, the clip is going to pick up with police 3-on-1 on top of this white woman. Okay. Now I know y'all like, well, what did okay, Kim? So, okay. But apparently, and you'll hear throughout the video, one of the bystanders, you're going to hear them obviously emotional and upset. And to me, this person sounds like a black woman. And she's going to talk about how the white woman on the ground, who was a stranger to her, offered herself up to be manhandled by the police, which, again, the energy that we need. So, Will, if we could, please, let's check out the clip. Take it from the top.
Police do when you fight against this is what the police do when you fight against genocide. 3 against 1. 1 on the floor. That's what they do. Make them famous. A bunch of cowards.
Shame.
All because we say stop the genocide.
What are your children going to think? They must be real fucking proud, huh? Look at you guys. Anything for Daddy Trump? Shame.
You know damn well, you do not have to do what you're doing. What a fucking shame. Stop bombing babies. 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 Stop bombing babies.
Stop bombing babies. Stop bombing babies.
Bro, I feel like I can't fight them. I couldn't have done anything, and I wish I could have.
Do you know her name so that we can arrange
No, I
bail
don't.
for her?
Well, they probably would have fucking killed my ass. I tried to.
Nothing any of us are going to do other than document and try to help afterwards.
No, I'm not. Because she came out to be with me, and then she got fucking arrested. It's not okay.
It's not okay, but we are all adults.
So I'm not sure what happened to the lady who was being arrested 3-on-1 by the cops. But you heard the sister say, she came out there to help me because, they would have killed my fucking ass, her black ass. She had the presence of mind to know that. And I believe that the white sister who inserted herself in place of the black woman to receive that police brutality or that manhandling, listen, nobody said it was going to be roses and goose down comforters. Okay. Like, if you're going to be an ally and a comrade, there are consequences that comes from that. But what you understand and what we have explained to you is that, the consequence that you will feel is absolutely less of that than what a black person or a Latino or a Muslim or Arab or otherwise brown or black person would be made to pay, be made to suffer more. So I appreciate substituting yourself to take that. So thank you to her, to that sister. So I want to move on because when I talk about I need the energy from the whites to crank it up, If you're serious about resisting fascism, if you're serious about resisting this authoritarian hard turn right, not even I mean, because America was already center right, bitch. We are we are so far to the right, it's not even visible anymore. So South Park, we got South Park fans in the house. I didn't realize South Park has been on damn near fucking 30 years, which is crazy. I remember when South Park first launched in 1997, I was 19 years old. And I remember being at my friend's apartment because they got their first apartment and we're over there smoking weed that we had to clean the seeds and the stems out of. And we were rolling it in Dutch Masters. And we watching this shit and we're like, what the fuck is this? Like, again, shout out to Gen X. We make cultural shit happen. Make no fucking mistake that South Park was for us. But anyway, so South Park, the creators, Matt and Trey, right? Lunchboxes. I've not always been a supporter of South Park. They do racist shit on occasion. And to the extent, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this all the time, but whatever. When they start doing the white on white violence, however, is when I'm here for the things, right? So apparently Comedy Central pulled a recent episode of South Park that featured Charlie Kirk or was about Charlie Kirk, had something to do with Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I didn't watch the episode. Don't really care. However, the South Park creators seem to take deep offense to the episode being removed. And they have promised swift vengeance. and given the fact that they are moneyed white men, they absolutely have the grace in the country, the space to exact an interesting response and clap back to their perceived censorship. So Will, let's run this clip. This was on the Tick and the Talks. So let me know what you guys think about the South Park creators saying, we're not gonna take it. No. Go ahead, Will.
Comedy Central, why'd you take down that... Hey, Comedy Central, why'd you take down that Charlie Kirk episode of South Park that I made? I'm really sorry about this, Matt, Trey. It's just... the timing of all this wasn't right. What are you talking about, the timing of it all? The episode aired a month before it happened. Yes, that's true, but it's just, it was all so close together, the time frame of it all, and we just want to be respectful. Oh, right, yeah, respectful. I'm sorry, do you not know the show that we've created? Yes, but I mean, just even South Park has to have a line of decency. It sounds like you've instituted a challenge with me, and I accept. No, I mean, I'm not trying to challenge you. It's just that I'm going to make an even worse episode now. We just pulled it from TV syndication. You can still stream it. If you think this episode was offensive, this is going to be 10 times more offensive. It's a very divisive time, and we were just trying to make sure that we didn't upset anybody. Charlie Kirk even said that he liked the episode that you pulled. No one will like this new episode that I'm coming up with. Why would you do this? Because chaos. Because I enjoy chaos. Always have, always will. Why? Why do we keep renewing your show? Aside from the fact that we're the only things that are keeping Comedy Central going, I don't know why. We've tried to cancel ourselves. Do you guys not remember when we actually came up with #CancelSouthPark? We don't want to keep being here, but you guys keep adding zeros to the paycheck, and it's harder to leave. Here's some more zeros.
Listen. This is what we need here. Okay. the artists are going to be the lead in the resistance. Do not look to the politicians. Do not look to the institutions. Do not look. And not to even say Matt and Trey are any kind of revolutionaries. No, but to intentionally irritate the authoritarian, I think takes a bit of courage. Now, I don't want to heap too much praise upon this because they're coming from a position of extreme privilege and security. They likely have real security and they absolutely got plenty of loyal money. What's the worst that can happen? That they actually get canceled? That's what the fuck they want to happen, right? So this is the shit I'm talking about. Like, especially if you know that you are in a position where you could take a hit reputationally or even a money hit or whatever. Take a proverbial shot at Trump, not a literal one, but mock him, ridicule him, point out the absurdity, point out the obvious diminished mental faculties that this man has, point out all of the things that he is doing and all the things that he is. And if you are a moneyed cisgendered white man, then you have the greatest level of protection to do exactly that. Okay? I don't expect Matt Parker and Trey Stone to be out there, you know what I'm saying? With the AR-15s slung around their shoulders. Absolutely not. But if a facet, a small sliver of a form of resistance comes, with the intentional insult of the fascist leader, of the authoritarian, hey man, the resistance comes in many forms. And I at least hope that they stick to their promise. Like, we don't need to see no taco. we don't need to hope that South Park always chickens out. No, they don't usually always chicken out. They usually come with their own version of choppers. So be looking out, I guess, for the next installation of South Park, because they have promised to make it as offensive as possible. And my guess is that they're going to do a bang up job of irritating the right. And I'm sure Matt and Trey will take the appropriate precautions. So, wait, where am I at here? Because, I might be running a little thin on our good whites stories. That's not true. I do got one more. Hold on. Do me a favor, everybody. Like the video, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It's Burning Down with Kim Brown. Help us get to 10,000 subs. We're only 1,600 away. Only 1,600 away, which, could be remedied very easily with a little enthusiasm. But anyway, I digress. So next on the authoritarian playbook and checklist is going to be the locking up of people for speech, for freedom of speech. Beyond taking away people's platforms, the Trump administration and the GOP-led Congress are proposing that the State Department have the ability to revoke people's passports, to revoke the passports of U.S. citizens, which is wild, not unprecedented. I know a couple folks pointed out on the Remix Morning Show chat that exact thing happened to Paul Robeson and W.E.B. Du Bois. That is correct. But guess what, y'all? We not Paul Robeson. We not W.E.B. Du Bois. We out here regular as shit, okay? Like, and if they snatching passports from regular ass niggas, not even platformed, famous, infamous, whatever. I'm not saying I get nor support, but Paul Robeson and W.E.B. Du Bois had the ear of the world. They had to keep them niggas in the house. They couldn't let them go out in the global neighborhood and tell everybody how terrible America was. They had to keep them niggas in the house, right? But nigga, I am not Paul Robeson nor my W.E.B. Du Bois, and the revoke. But anyway, so here's the thing. People are already getting locked up for speech right now. Well, I guess people have been getting locked up for speech here in the U.S. as well. A shout out to all the Free Palestine folks who have endured repression and police brutality for standing up in support of Palestine. And this is what's happening in the UK. As you guys know, the group Palestine Action was prescribed. It's such an interesting characterization. It was prescribed as a terrorist organization after a couple of their members allegedly broke into a Royal Air Force base and put red paint on the planes. Brilliant. Nice work. But after that, the douchebags in the UK decided to make Palestine Action a terrorist group. What? So ever since then, the radical whites, the abouted whites, the righteous whites have been coming out in the UK and wearing their support for Palestine Action on their clothing. They've been holding up, as they say in Britain, placards. They've been holding up their placards proclaiming their support for Palestine Action. Oh, that looked like a sign to me, Sir Chrisley, but whatevs. Okay, no. So we'll definitely start this one from the beginning because this is the fucking energy. White folks, pay attention. White folks, pay attention. White folks around the world, pay attention. We need more of you. We need whites by the billions with this fucking energy for their governments, against empire, against imperialism, against capitalism, against genocide. We need way more of this energy from the whites. Will, let's check it out.
Message to the Palestinians. What is your message to the Palestinians in Gaza?
Survive and stay strong. We won't forget you. We haven't forgotten you.
Thinking of you all the time, and we're sorry.
Oh, stay strong, stay strong. We're doing all we can over here. This is crazy imperialist, violent machine, and we're trying to take it down.
I am with them. I stand for them. I love them. And this government is risking their genocide.
You can only think people in Gaza and what they're suffering.
And what's your message to the Palestinians in Gaza?
Up on three, 1, 2, 3.
How dare you pick her up like this?
She's a legend. You're despicable. She's a legend. You're despicable.
We stand with you. We see your sacrifice. We see your suffering.
Will this intimidate you from continuing for protests?
No.
Will anything intimidate you?
No.
Until Palestine is free.
People of this country are not going to stand by and watch you die. We're not going to stand by and watch this happen to you.
Another old lady needs arrested. So 20 police have to go in. No one's fighting them. No one's hitting the police. But it takes 20 of them to arrest an old lady. Why? Because they want to teach us a lesson. You can't protest against genocide. I will arrest you and send you to prison. That's the message in this country at the moment. That's why we need to be on the streets.
We're doing this for you! Our government is funding a genocide and we do not consent! I support the Palestinians! I heartily for them! Free Palestine!
Arresting granddads and grandmas for holding up a sign.
I want their forgiveness. And I'm sorry, like, what's happening.
The whole world stands with the Palestinian people, except the corrupt governments and the corrupt authorities in the world. The people of the world are with you.
Stay out of the way! Bear in mind who you've got like, you know, the elders. You know, your parents, your grandparents.
And who should be the ones arrested? That should be Keir Starmer, that should be David Lammy, that should be Yvette Cooper. Why? Because they are supporting, they're not just complicit, they are partners in a genocide.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, and Palestine won't get free until the world actually does something. And just the scenes coming out of Gaza City right now are absolutely devastating. Okay, the Israelis are moving forward with a full-scale Um, I can't call it a forced evacuation, another forced mass displacement of over 1 million Palestinians out of Gaza City, trying to force them to evacuate to the south to basically put them into open air concentration camps. And Netanyahu is being allowed to do it. But I'm happy to see some whites say, not in our name. Not in our name. And making sure that the Starmer government, but again, very much like here in the US, the liberal government led by Keir Starmer, previously led by, God damn it, the UK has had so many fucking prime ministers. Who was the last goddamn prime minister? What was it? I would say the UK Obama, but oh boy, was nothing like Obama. Maybe he was like Obama. Let me hush my mouth. Richie Sunak. Wasn't Sunak the last one? Who knows? These Bamas change prime ministers every year. Lucky, I guess. maybe that's a good thing. Regardless, just like the labor liberals took the baton of assisting the genocide from the conservative the Tories before them. That's right, yeah. Just like here in the US, Trump continues the genocidal work that Biden started before him. So, it all kinds of works. But I love to see the elder white folks out there getting arrested. Not because I wish them police brutality, because I appreciate their willingness to go out there and do it. They had every expectation that they would be arrested. They went out, they almost insisted upon it, right? And I have to say, again, there's so many similarities between the US and the UK. To see the London Met Police be used in that way, like you have to deploy several officers to take down an octogenarian with mobility assistance, with walking assistance. Like, what the fuck are you actually doing? In the same spirit that Homeland Security and ICE is pulling flower vendors and roofers and fucking taqueros off the street. It's like, this is what the police resources and police powers are being used for. Like, you can't be out here just selling flowers, Mr. Ricardo. Like, what the fuck? But just to give you an indication, the authoritarianism and the fascism is not limited simply to the United States or limited to Romania or wherever the fuck you think it is, Russia. No, it's everywhere. It's global. Well, maybe not everywhere, but it's definitely in the West. Absolutely fascist as fuck in the West. And hold on, I got one more. And this is a small example of some whites offering up what passes for mild resistance. Is this the clip I have, Will? It's Trump being asked a question from the Australian media. Hi, I'm calling from Australia. Yes, what's your name, sir? I'm Crocodile Dundee. I have a question for the president. No, it wasn't Crocodile Dundee asking the questions, but it was an Australian media member. And I love it actually when Trump goes abroad, because he actually gets asked real questions as opposed to whatever this propaganda machine known as the White House press corps. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they definitely don't like to ask the president consequential questions. But Trump was asked about, indirectly, how much money he has made ever since regaining the White House. Remember, everybody, Trump was inaugurated in January. Here we are, only 9-ish months into his presidency, and Trump has made billions of dollars. Does that usually happen? Does that usually happen? Do most presidents launch cryptocurrency schemes and receive multi-$100 million airplanes from heads of state? Is this how it usually goes? Okay. So anyway, Trump was asked about, what's up with all this bread you got, dog? You out here slinging gold shoes and fucking meme coins and shit. Like, you're making a lot of money as your second term as president. That's not suspicious at all. And here's Trump's response in true thuggery fashion. Let's take a look.
Appropriate President Trump that a president, it is appropriate President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Paul Corner's program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone. Well, go ahead, John.
Okay, maybe you can
set a nicer tone.
The UAE does a deal. What does it want in return?
Quiet.
Hold on. I thought this was a president in an administration that was the most transparent ever in history. Full transparency. The president has nothing to hide. You see how quick Trump switched up, tried to pivot away from that question. He was getting ready to answer it. He was like, oh, well, actually, my kids run it. Oh, yeah, we know you never talk to your children, right? So why the fuck would you be in communication with your children when billions and possibly trillions of dollars are at stake, right? But Trump caught himself as he was about to answer. Trump was like, wait a fucking second. I don't answer no fucking questions out this bitch. I'm sorry, sir. Who are you? And where are you from? Oh, Australia. Oh, you fucking Australia in the ass right now, dog. It's like I'm about to meet with the head Australian cracker next week. What outfit are you from? Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Oh, yeah, you're really doing your country a disservice right now by having the audacity to think that you can come and chat some questions to King Donald, the Führer, the head Führer, the HCIC. You understand? Trump, that is the part that he is fully transparent about, that Trump doesn't give a fuck about accountability, about disclosing his self-dealings. He doesn't care what you see, what you think, what you know. He doesn't answer questions. He doesn't have to. That is how a dictator gets down. And when you have no accountability to the public, then you answer questions in that fashion, in that form. And I gotta say to any of the Magites, are y'all all right? Is everything okay? You sent your boy to drain the swamp, and he's showing you to your face he is the fucking swamp. The swamp thing, in fact, okay? Trump is so corrupt. And trust me, I know Joe Biden was corrupt. I know Bill Clinton. Name a Democrat. Barack Hussein. Yes, baby. Yes, please. Don't throw Democrats in my face and think you're doing something. I hate them as well. We can be united in our hatred of Democrats, but we are not going to be in Delulu together, beloveds, about your king, okay? Trump is a grifter and obviously a hell of a cult leader, because he has got the psyche of MAGA America in a vice grip. Y'all can't eat. Well, I can't say that y'all can't see it, because I think it's pretty clear that Trump is getting over in a myriad of ways. I'm not even referencing the Epstein files, of which y'all know he's in. He was best homies with one of the most prolific pedophiles of the 20th century, and you all shrug. But what about? But no, see, this is why white America is in disarray right now, because y'all refuse to look inwards and do any sort of self-introspection, any sort of reflection about your history, about your ancestors, about the role that this country has played globally in the oppression and the slaughter of millions of people. And don't please miss me with democracy, because America doesn't stand for no fucking democracy. And let this latest instance with Jimmy Kimmel just be a reminder of that, right? Free speech is only free if you agree. Let me take a quick break here, and I do mean quick, because we gonna boogie woogie woogie, Wilbert. I'm gonna get you out of here. But I got some shit I had to just get to and get through. So I appreciate everyone who is joining us tonight. Do we have any acknowledgments? I don't think I saw any boxes. Did I see any boxes, Wilbert? don't think I did, but it's cool if we didn't. I appreciate y'all being here. You know that.
Shout out to Franny French.
Right.
I'm glad to be here at BIDWKB right here where I need to be. Okay.
Style on them, Franny.
We love that.
Hit him with some Tina Marie bars out there, Franny French.
Mm-hmm. Got 127 people in the chat. Like and subscribe.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. So, guys, I know we get drop-ins here from time to time. Folks that may not understand the direction and the tone and the tenor of this channel and me, your humble host. But please understand, I am a humanist. I really support and love pretty much all people except racists. The racist, I abhor, and I wish all the bad things in the world to happen to the racist and only the racist. Okay. So yeah, I don't do any of the fucking phobias. I don't do, I don't fuck with transphobes, homophobes, Islamophobes. I don't deal with misogyny, misogynoir. Go fuck yourself. Please and thanks. But my next set of clips, you guys, I'm going to give you all a content warning because it's going to be stressful. Stressful. Everyone survives. But these scenes I'm about to show are stressful because Black people, what we experience on a regular basis, that I think that the unconscious, non-aware white person, the everyday American, I think, I'm not really sure though, because I even think racists know that Black people experience racism because the racists even know that they would not want to receive the treatment that Black people receive. They at least have sense enough to know that, right? But what I think they don't quite understand is the cumulative eroding effect that racism has on Black people's health, Black people's mental well-being, and our overall life outcomes. Okay, I'm not even talking about personal responsibility bullshit, because you guys are about to see in these clips, each of these Black folks were in the right, not committing any crimes, not doing anything wrong. And yet racism, by extension, white folks, went out of their way to fuck with these Black people that has had real world material consequences for these Black folks, at least 2 of them in these clips. And this is everyday life for Black people. Okay, this is not just so-called young, YNs, you know what I mean? No, this happens to middle-aged women. This happens to elders. This happens to people who identify in all kinds of different gender and sexual expressions. Like this happens to Black children. Like no Black person is immune from this shit. And I trust me, white folks, if you had to deal with this kind of bullshit on a regular basis, well, we know what y'all would do. We know what y'all would do. And y'all better be lucky that we not y'all. So let me put it to you that way. So hold on. Let me start off because I labeled this segment. Well, the last segment I labeled whites. This is the energy that we need. I want to see my radical whites out there willing to sacrifice their privilege. But here, this is an abrupt turn. And I named this segment and Black America, and in Black America again. So we're going to Indiana. I believe this is Maryville, Indiana. We're going to the Walmart in Maryville, Indiana. And the camera is going to pick up with a Black woman recording herself. She's being accosted by a Walmart employee who is being accompanied by a white woman police officer from a different jurisdiction than Maryville, actually. Let me see if I can remember which jurisdiction it is. And this Black woman has a receipt for her items, and yet she's still being accused of stealing. And in spite her pleas to ask that the camera footage, which we know Walmart is full of fucking cameras, go check the camera. Go check the camera. If you think I stole something, go check the camera. And she's being told to calm down. And then we'll see what happens next. So let's roll that. Let's take a look.
Up twice. Both of my shoes are rang. I rung them up twice. Both of my shoes are rang up. Both of my shoes are rang up. Both of my shoes are rang the fuck up. What is your name?
My name's Corey.
My shoes are rung up, sir. You can go check your cameras and print out the double copy of the receipt. My shoes are rang up. My shoes are rang up. I'm going to talk. He was aggressive with me. He was aggressive with me. Okay, so are you going to arrest him when you see this is rung up? Now I'm causing a scene because you stopped me for something that's on this receipt rung up. This is ridiculous. All of my items are rung up on this. I just want everybody to know all of my items are rung up. And now I'm being threatened with my child to be arrested. Ma'am, please do not approach me. Please, I have my child. Please do not approach me.
Stop yelling.
Could you? I am not yelling. Please do not approach me.
Stop yelling.
Ma'am, I have my child. Could you please not approach me? I am not under. I am not yelling.
Stop yelling.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this. You are literally threatening to arrest me for items. Ma'am, I have my child. I am not being aggressive. Oh my God, I can't fucking believe this. I am not being. I am with my child. I am not. All of my items are paid for. Why am I cannot believe this. All of my items are paid for. I cannot believe this. All of my items are paid for, and I'm with my child.
Stop yelling.
I am not, ma'am. Oh my God! Can you please record, please? Can you please call my child father now? All of my items are paid for. I do not steal.
You're under arrest for disorderly conduct.
What am I doing?
You're screaming.
You guys are accusing me of stealing.
I need you to back up your.
Oh my God! I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. I have not.
Fuck the police. Let's start there. That was my prevailing sentiment after watching that video again, after feeling my heart palpitations begin to rise again, to feel my blood pressure go up again. So that sister obviously recorded and posted that video. Her account name on TikTok was Queen Brandy, and she said she was there with her 2-year-old, her toddler. And I don't know what it is. I think white people, racists, white antagonizers, I don't know. There must be some sort of training given. If you are in a verbal conflict with a black person, tell them to calm down. If you want to guarantee that a black person will get upset, if they were not previously upset, if the black person was emotionally regulated, in control of themselves, speaking in a regular tone of voice, right? But assertive, right? Tell them to calm down, or tell them that you don't need to yell. I can't tell you, if looks could kill, how many white folks you think y'all would be dead every time a white person in an argument told a black person to calm down? Like, because the way, and to be clear, the feelings that I'm feeling are almost irrespective of the person and persons accosting this woman are a cop, right? Like, just white girl talking about calm down, stop yelling, snatch. By Becky's a ponytail. I was calm till you told me to calm down. Now you're on the floor. What happened? Disorderly conduct, everybody. Why was this woman even being harassed in the first place? Why didn't the officer accept her evidence that she very clearly had in her fucking hand? Why, instead of continuing to press and harass and antagonize and provoke and instigate, why didn't the officer go, you know what, let me go look at the tape since we're in fucking Walmart and there's tape everywhere. And there's cameras over top of the cash register and the fucking conveyor belt. This tape. Why would this lady say that she got a receipt and tell them niggas to go check the camera if she stole the shit? Make it make fucking sense. This is a power trip that white people do. They know they can do this. They know that their word carries weight, especially with law enforcement. This is what black people in this country have known since the history of fucking forever. This is why a white person making a false accusation towards a black person has lots of times resulted in the death of that black person, either at the hands of law enforcement or at the hands of a racist, violent white mob. Okay? That is a power. That is an inherent born privilege. That I don't give a fuck what whites think that they ain't got no fucking privilege. Every white person in America has the authority to authorize lethal, if not deadly force. I know they're the same thing, but I'm rolling here. That to authorize and green light the execution of a black person by law enforcement simply off the word, be it a honest or a false word of a white. My heart went out to that sister and her child again, because black children are not protected or absolved of experiencing racism, regardless of their age. 2-year-old toddler, oh yeah, definitely. Black child, oh, definitely old enough to see her mother racially profiled and harassed and arrested for asking questions. And again, what have I told you guys about getting loud in public? Okay, that means you're a nigger malfunctioning in public. That's disorderly conduct. That's a charge. You niggas cannot be out here zapping out in public. And to be clear, that lady was not zapping out. Not zapping out. But again, even with receipts in your hand, even with closed circuit television video evidence of your purchases, the whites will still find a way to harass, accuse, and imprison you simply for being black and existing. And also, and because they can. USA. Okay, next video. This one comes out of Oklahoma, and I had to double check and see if this was a recent story because TikTok be fucking with me sometimes. TikTok be throwing up shit that I'm like, nigga, this is 3 years old. What? Why? So one of the tired tropes that comes from racist white America as it pertains to why black people are not on same or close economic footing as white folks. Why is it that white folks have at least 10 to 100 times more wealth than black people? Well, because American history is so poorly taught in this country. White people, racists, that is, those that don't care to find out and really know the true history of America, would see that there was a clear pattern of plunder, of wealth stealing, of government sanctioned community destruction, of hundreds, if not thousands, of black communities where black people had become self-sufficient and created their own spaces and stores and post offices and all the like. And either the white racist mobs came and burned them down, or the government itself sanctioned some sort of eminent domain that destroyed these black communities, right? So we have had and accumulated and pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps. However, if you knew history, you would know how often that racism have come to take those things away. Such is the case with these two young black men. I'm not clear if they are themselves from Oklahoma or whether they were simply traveling through Oklahoma. But nonetheless, these two young black men were stopped by police and they had a lot of money on them. No, they didn't rob a bank, because I know that's what you fucking crackers were thinking. Oh, these niggas have money. They must have stole it. Incorrect. The young man actually received a settlement I believe from one of the tobacco vaping companies. I can't remember if it's Juul or not, but it's mentioned in the piece that we're about to see, so you'll hear it. But he received a lump sum, a nice size lump sum, 5 figures. And the young man, because he's Black in America, says that he does not trust financial institutions, which I understood. So he had his cash on him. Now, little did he know, unfortunately, again, American history is poorly taught to everybody, white and Black. This young man did not think that of all people that he would be robbed by, it would be the police. A lesson this young man had to learn the hard way. So anyway, let's take a look at the story. Being Black in America, don't have a little bit of change because the crackers gonna come and steal it, because that is what they do. Anyway, let's go. Take a look.
It's my homie Alex O'Keefe, and he. Hey y'all, this is my homie Alex.
Oh, I'm
O'Keefe,
sorry.
and
Wait,
he
wait, wait.
just
That's the
got
wrong one. I'm
arrested
sorry,
on a
Will.
train because a white woman.
My bad. It's the other video. I'm sorry. I must have placed them. I'm looking at the wrong order. It's the one that says I don't know what the fuck it says. I'm sorry. Hey chat, like it, love it. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, well, yeah, can you play them? Can you play the one that I just set up? I'm sorry. My bad, Will. Like the video while you guys are in here. Subscribe to the
Yeah,
channel.
just give me 1 second. Yeah,
Take your time.
Because I was in the last one.
I'm sorry. What's up? KMC, what up? What up? Hey, KMC, listen. I understand why if you have some disappointment with Gen X, it's not misplaced. It's not misplaced. I am Gen X, and I look at fucking JD Vance. I said somebody didn't whip his ass properly enough when in the 90s. Like, this nigga is my age, and you're this much of a fucking Nazi. And let me tell you something. I went to a white high school, and let me tell you something. Yes, the fuck we were slapping and punching white kids in the goddamn face for using the N-word. JD Vance, the right niggas did not go to his fucking high school. I could tell you that much. What's up, Will? You got the clip?
I got it.
All right, y'all. So remember what I just said. The young brothers had the money, lump sum legal settlement that it was his money, and he did not think he would get robbed by the cops. Let's take a look.
Jabrian Harden wanted to talk to 2 News because Jimmy and Jabrian Harden wanted to talk to 2 News because they had been fighting for nearly a year to get $62,000 back. Jabrian was driving through Oklahoma with his brother Jimmy, made a last-minute lane change and got pulled over by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol near Big Cabin. Harden says he recently won a settlement from Juul, but didn't trust banks, so he had it in his car.
Never dealt with that type of money in my life, so I wanted to pull it and have it in my hand, so that's how I know it's safe. I know that's not how you do things, but
it's not unlawful.
It's not unlawful to do so.
OHP took the money and detained them for hours. They hired an attorney and waited months with no action. 3 business days after our story aired, the Department of Public Safety signed an order agreeing to return the guns that were also seized, as well as the money plus accrued interest. But the Hardens still don't have the money. Right after we talked, it seemed like everything was going to be good. I spoke with Jimmy via Zoom. OHP confirms the check was dated August 14th and signed by the Hardens' attorneys September 5th. Now the money is with the attorneys.
I feel like on OHP's end, they've already, did their part. So it's kind of like just a waiting game right now, just a process.
The reason Jabrian says he got the settlement money from Juul was due to seizures suffered from vaping. He's had to borrow money from his family to pay for the cost of his medication and rationing it as a result.
And even though, the details may be a little different, but I feel like I've heard variations of this kind of story, especially historically for Black people in America, in which it will either be cash or it will be property or it will be a business or a home or something tangible of value. and somehow the law will get involved, or a white with tremendous social influence or status will take an interest in whatever material asset that the black person has, and they will scheme and plot on how to separate the black person from that valuable thing, right? A tale as old as time in America. These young men weren't transporting drugs. They weren't human trafficking. They weren't sex trafficking. This kid had got a check from a legal settlement that he was owed. He didn't want to put his money in the bank. He didn't fucking have to. But I just want everybody to be clear, like, the real criminals here wear badges and guns and are sworn to protect and defend the law, to uphold the Constitution. Those are the real criminals. That is who has always stole from black people, not only stolen our material things, but stolen our lives, stolen our livelihood, stolen our ableness, right? And the thing about it, and it doesn't have to be Oklahoma, by the way, this could have happened in a lot of states, right? But I used to live in Oklahoma, as you guys know, and there's a lot of good old boy backslapping going on in the whole fucking state. Okay, the whole state is good old boy backslapping. You best believe, in my opinion, there is some sort of connection or relationship between the attorneys and the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And there could be some sort of good old boy conspiracy to deprive these boys of this money indefinitely, right? It's not unheard of. It's not unprecedented. And imagine, by the way, if these kids did not have the wherewithal, and maybe they made a mistake by fucking hiring an attorney, to be honest. If the attorney was a goddamn crook, then they made a mistake. But how could they know it's a mistake? They thought that they were doing the right thing. Because, by the way, why didn't the Oklahoma Highway Patrol simply return their shit back to them? Civil asset forfeiture is legal armed robbery that the cops get to do. Civil asset forfeiture, when the fucking cops pull you over and or arrest you, they can just take your shit. They could just take your shit. They could take your money. They could take your guns, as they did these young men. And then there is a fight. There is an administrative and or legal process that the defendants, I suppose, or whoever was the people targeted by the police, like, if there was no crime committed and these young men were free to go, why did they leave the scene without their $62,000? Like, what was the legal justification for the cops to confiscate that money for them, but for them simply being black? And by the way, again, what white America allows to happen to black people will eventually happen to them. You guys know I covered a story here out of Atlanta, Hartsfield Airport, Hartsfield Jackson. The FBI was outright robbing people of large quantities of money. I mean, in America, you're allowed to travel with as much cash money, as much currency as you want. You know, the laws kick in when you're trying to travel abroad carrying cash money, right? But within the confines of the country, you can have as much cash on you as you want to. There's nothing illegal about it. And now these boys are being robbed again. They were robbed by the cops to start, and now robbed, allegedly, seemingly, by another tentacle of the legal system, in this case, in the form of the attorneys. I'll keep you posted on that story. But again, don't ask black people, well, why didn't y'all try hard? Why didn't y'all work hard? Why didn't y'all pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Everything we get gets taken. Whites take it. They take it, and they don't give a fuck. Don't believe me? Look at gentrification. Don't believe me? Look at the mass layoffs done by the Trump administration throughout the public sector. Like anything that black people are able to accrue, trust and believe. Racist whites and their systems are coming for it. Too sweet. And last but not least, another story of law enforcement getting involved when a black people when a black people, yes, when a black people, I will dismantle this English language. Ear doctor and I are going to destroy the good grammar of English, one misstated sentence and word at a time. But anywho, when you're existing in a space and you're black and it raises the heckles, is that the phrase? It raises the heckles. My heckles are raised of a white who don't want to see your black ass fucking up their beautiful view of the world. You know, white people, some racist white people want to see the world without blacks. What is this nigga doing here? Excuse me, officer. You see this nigga? Come get this nigga. Thank you so much. That's exactly what happened to this young man riding the MTA train. Woo! Please don't think that all the racism is down south or Midwest. No. Woo! Don't let the Northeast crackers show you how it's done, baby. Let them liberal crackers come show you a thing or two. They do that shit politely. You know, but anyway, okay, so this is actually a sister who posted this video in support of her homie, who is actually the victim here. And you're going to see the clip of the aggrieved person, black person, who is being forcibly removed off of an MTA train, seemingly for nothing, because we're going to see an officer be asked time and time again, why is this person being arrested? The person asks, what am I being arrested for? And the officer can't articulate it because clearly the person broke no laws. But again, simply existing whilst black is illegal enough, darky, and you know this. And you know this. This should be a shock to none of you darkies. Y'all should know this by now. But anyway, so let's take a look at this clip. Existing while black in America can be hazardous for your health, especially for your mental health. Let's take a look.
This is my homie Alex O'Keefe, and he just got arrested on a train because a white woman did not want him there. Yes, that is the whole story. Alex was taking an MTA train up to Connecticut when this evil old white bitch walked into the train, noticed him sitting there, decided she didn't like his posture and tried to force him to correct it, and when he ignored her, went to the conductor and asked for him to be removed from the train. And the conductor stopped the train and called the police.
The one black dude on the train because this white woman said she didn't like the way I was sitting on the train. So you call the police to arrest the one black dude on the train. I haven't done anything illegal. I haven't done anything illegal. I haven't done anything illegal. I am sitting on a train and one white woman didn't like my presence. Resisting what? Resisting what?
Because they haven't told me he's under arrest.
What are you trying to arrest me for? I was sitting on a train. I was sitting on a train and you're trying to arrest me for what?
So I'm curious as to whether this is MTA policy or if they will be doing anything to take action against the conductor who forcibly removed a paying employee just because a white woman didn't want them there. MTA, anything to say? Anything to say? Imagine being this old and this fucking ugly and still dedicating your life to nothing but hate, praying, hoping, wishing that the glory days from your youth when you could be cruel, evil, and punitive to people you don't even fucking know would come back around. On the brink of death, days away from death's door, and still using her final days and final breaths to be hateful because that's what people like them do. And then for some reason they're so mad that we don't give a fuck whether or not they disappear. You're evil. We are arriving at Jim Crow levels of fascism. And my real question is, back then, were they still this cringe, ugly, and mediocre? Like, were they always this gross, unbearable, unlikable, undesirable? Has that always been what this is about? Anyways, I'm not sure if Alex is going to be suing or whether he will need to start a GoFundMe for legal fees or anything like that. I hope that he seeks restitution because this is fucking insane and super illegal. And if that happens, I will let you guys know.
Yeah, I would like to know what the outcome was. Because if the police officer is not able to articulate what the offense is, what is the crime violated, what law was broken, what's the justification for removing them off the train? And again, it's intentional that why that the provocation of bothering black folks who are sitting minding their business, like that is what really sends us into a rage. I mean, maybe I shouldn't even be disclosing this because you know the whites are gonna take the racists are gonna take notes about how to antagonize a strange black person, a black person who's a stranger to you. But they all know this. It's epigenetic. It's in their DNA. They know exactly what to do and how to attempt to push our buttons. And it usually begins with coming over to bother us in our space or to go summon someone else to come bother us in our space for some perceived, demerit in our posture, in our presentation, in our attitude, in all kinds of things. My day oneers, you guys will be familiar with the story, but maybe we have some folks in here who do not know. The reason why I definitely believe that young man did fuck all to deserve to have the cops called on him and for him to be pulled off that fucking train, because I had the same thing happen to me on a Delta Airlines flight returning to Baltimore from Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is why I do not fuck with Delta, and you would never get me on a goddamn Delta flight. No, maybe am I lying? Was it Delta? I think it was Delta. Yes, because I had 2 incidents with Delta, and I'm like, I ain't never flying these motherfuckers again. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'll be brief. So I'm on the flight, minding my business, being quiet, trying to nap and snooze, and just it's not a long flight. It's a relatively short flight, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, easy breezy beezy, right? So I noticed that this stewardess, I felt as though she seemed to be paying a special attention to me, but not in a good way. Like at one point in the flight, I had my chair reclined back and I had my foot maybe a tiny bit. I'm not sure how much in the aisle it was. It doesn't even matter. This lady pushed the beverage cart and like smashed my foot, right? I didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, because it kind of woke me up. Then as I'm napping, I went back to sleep. I have my chair reclined. She comes by and she pushes the button and raises my chair up on me while I'm sleeping, by the way. Okay. Okay. So we land wheels on the ground at Thurgood Marshall, Baltimore, Washington International Airport. Wheels on the fucking ground. Plane is on the fucking ground, taxiing to the gate. I unbuckle my seatbelt. I got my bag carry-on under my chair. I grab it. I'm standing by. I'm ready for it. Ready to get off the fucking plane. This bitch gets on. The bitch gets on the intercom. Bitch didn't even come up to me. Wait, I don't. You know what? This has been some years now. Now I'm losing the order of the story. But the short and the long of it is, this lady came up to me and tried to get me to put my seatbelt back on. She's like, "Oh, ma'am, you need to put your seatbelt back on because we're not arrived at the gate." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You need to put your seatbelt back on." I'm like, "But we're on the ground. Are you refusing to put your seatbelt back on?" I think I got quiet. She goes to the pilot. She goes and tells the pilot. The pilot gets on the intercom. The pilot gets on the intercom and says, "Oh, we seem to have a problem with the customer who is refusing to put their seatbelt back on. So TSA has been called." I want y'all to know, I did not say a word. I did not raise my voice. I did not cuss this lady. I'm sitting there looking at her dumb ass, just looking at her fucking dumb ass. I'm like, look at this fucking white demon. I said, okay, bitch. I'm thinking to myself, okay, bitch. So here comes TSA. Of course, this big fucking cracker Big white boy, big white boy. You seem to have a problem here. We have a problem here. Somebody don't want to listen. And I said, that's me. And I grabbed my bag and I look at the stewardess as I'm walking off the airport. I said, off the airplane. I said, you're doing a great fucking job, right? So they didn't pull up all the way up to the gate. The stairs, they put us, they set up the stairs to lead directly onto the fucking ground, to the pavement, right? We didn't go through the gateway. Soon as my feet touch the concrete next to the plane as I come off the stairs, this big white man cop jumps in my face. And I'm not exaggerating when I say he gets in my face, right? And starts yelling at me, talking about, well, the steward said that you were being non-compliant. And you know me, you think, come on, y'all. Do you think I went for that? Do you think I went for that? Absolutely not. I said, listen, I said, you need to go do an investigation. I said, there were other passengers sitting around me that can absolutely tell you that I never yelled at this lady, never cursed her, never did anything. And I didn't take my seatbelt off until the plane had landed on the ground. So are you going to go do an investigation? He got quiet. I'm not scared of police. Go fuck yourself, pussy. Soft to scrotum skin little bitch. So anyway, he goes back on the plane. I don't know what, and to this day, guys, I really wish I could know what the other passengers said. I really would love to know what the other passengers said, because I'm assuming they told the truth. I'm assuming they told the fucking truth. That didn't do anything to warrant TSA being called on me. And I did not take my seatbelt off until after the plane had landed. But me taking my seatbelt off is nothing different than any other fucking passenger does once they have landed and intend to disembark the airplane. Again, the shit that black people get the police called on them for, you racist crackers, y'all better be fucking glad. You better be glad that we don't seek vengeance. We only seek justice. But if we sought vengeance, oh boy. So long story short, they put me in handcuffs. They put me in handcuffs. I was detained at the TSA black site at BWI airport for 2 hours while the FBI determined whether or not I was a risk and whether or not they were going to press charges on me. And they declined to press charges. A rare moment of clarity for the alphabet boys, because it's like, are y'all fucking kidding me? So when I say that white people, when they think that you perceive, when they perceive rather that you as a black person or a non-white person are somehow being non-compliant or somehow breaking the rules in any slight way, they will absolutely call the police on your ass. And that's why they can absolutely go fuck themselves to the end of fucking time, because miss me with all this fucking nonsense propaganda about this being a free nation and everybody has equal rights and everyone has the same access and ability and opportunity. No, you don't. Not if you're being harassed and antagonized by police when you have receipts for items that you're being accused of stealing. Not when you're being robbed and thieved of life-changing money that you were absolutely legally entitled to and was yours, and you still had to fight to reclaim it, in which these young boys still haven't gotten it. Not when you're simply existing in a public space and your existence is enough of an irritant to a racist white that they would call the police simply to have you removed from their eyeballs, from their eyeball space. America's never a free country for black people. It has always been a fascist country for black people. And it is trying to redouble its efforts. And these instances that I brought you are par for the everyday fucking course for black Americans who have never known nor enjoyed so-called first-class citizenship. And we better be prepared for more of this kinds of bullshit, even though this is not new to us. And gang, let me get out of here because I'm going to leave us. My last, God damn it, I don't even have no palate cleansers. Ain't no palate cleansed tonight. Ain't no palate cleanser tonight. I will opt. Should I go? Are you rushing? I will let you go and hold, and I can hold this segment until Tuesday if you are rushing, even though I'm in here sweating like it is slavery.
Yeah, I gotta go.
That's cool. All right, gang. I'm gonna hold my last segment for Tuesday. But I'll give you a hint. It has to do with Memphis. Okay. And so big up to our Memphis, our Tennessee people. Peace, Nat. What's up? All right. We got any last minute shout outs? Acknowledgements? Did the trolls come in here, get busy? My mods, did y'all have a y'all was working hard tonight? Big up to Latif. Thank you so much to Vesper, Magnolia D in the building. Swerve Ferry putting it work. What's up, Northern Witch? Thank you so much. Rose Alba, Vespa X. Appreciate y'all so much. Tyler Hackner, my son. Oh, you're tired of racism coming from the back. Why? Oh, you want to snow, Frank? You're so tired. Why? Oh, well, go vote. Oh, wait, you did vote. You have the White House. Oh, wait, you have Congress. Oh, wait, you have the Supreme Court. Oh, wait, you still have all the wealth. Oh, wait, oh, wait, oh, wait. Shut the fuck up. Stop crying. Y'all are some little bitches. No wonder y'all running around in fishnets and knee-high socks under camo and shit. I need y'all to toughen up a little bit. Okay? Y'all have not even experienced no real hardships out here. You tired about the black people complaining about racism. Then go burn a cross with your cousins this weekend. You know y'all got plans too. You in the wrong place, troll. Or maybe you're in the right place. Run the Cash App, bitch. BIDWKB. That's what you like. You like being dominated by women. You probably like being whipped and shit. I charge, bitch, $125 an hour. I probably need to charge more than that. You probably sign up for that shit, freak. Anyway, I'm sorry. My bad. Sorry. Anyway, quick reminder. Don't forget to tune in to Saturdays with Renee tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Black Liberation Media. We appreciate all that tune into the Remix Morning Show on Black Liberation Media, Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. And of course, my good bruv, the Air Doctor. If you didn't get a chance to check out the latest episode of Classical Breakdown, we did, I believe most, maybe not all, but a good chunk of the Curtis Mayfield movie soundtracks to the soundtracks of films such as Superfly, The Infamous, You Be the Hood, You Heard of Us, Claudine, Sparkle, Let's Do It Again. Curtis Mayfield, musical genius. His soundtrack songs are quite good. So please check out the Air Doctor and I on Classical Breakdown. We appreciate all that support. Trey D, thank you again for your Cash App love. Francis French, thank you so much for your super chat support. Please, everybody, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and definitely go look up 3i Atlas, y'all, because, you know, we're all worried and concerned that fascism and authoritarianism is coming. No, the aliens might make it here before then. So we might not have nothing to worry about at all because it might be over. And if the aliens take the whites, it's a win-win for all. So anyway, thank you all so much for doing what you do. Thank you especially to Will and Molly. Thank you, Fire Fam. Love you guys to pieces. See y'all later. Bye-bye. Deuces.